In 1915, the British Army placed an urgent order for 50 trucks. The delivery deadline was 40 days. The trucks had to cross the Atlantic from Wisconsin, clear customs, pass through a reception depot in Liverpool, and reach the front in France. That deadline was met, and the vehicle that met it went on to become one of the most important military trucks ever built. Not because it was powerful, not because it was fast, but because it could go places no other vehicle on Earth could follow. The FWD Model B was built by the four-wheel drive auto company of Clintonville, Wisconsin, a company whose name described exactly what made their product different from everything else on the road. Full-time four-wheel drive in 1912 was not a convenience feature. It was a radical engineering proposition at a time when most trucks struggled to maintain traction on paved surfaces, let alone the shell-cratered mud fields of the Western Front. The vehicle that emerged from Clintonville was a cab-over-engine configuration with a double ladder frame, a short inner frame carrying the engine and driveline mounted within a larger outer frame that handled the suspension and body. The engine was a 389 cubic inch Wisconsin T-head straight 4, producing 36 horsepower at 1,800 revolutions per minute. By modern standards, that figure is modest. For a 3-ton truck operating in 1915, it was adequate, provided the power reached all four wheels, which in the Model B it always did. Power was transmitted through a Kata 3-speed constant mesh gearbox to a single-speed silent chain transfer case with a lockable center differential. From there, drive shafts ran to front and rear live axles simultaneously. The transfer case was equipped with 2 differential locks, allowing the vehicle to be driven in either front or rear-wheel drive mode in the event of a drive shaft failure, a level of mechanical redundancy that most military vehicles wouldn't adopt for decades. Steering a four-wheel drive vehicle presented a specific engineering problem in 1912 that most manufacturers hadn't solved. FWD solved it with their own patented double-Y constant velocity joints, allowing the front wheels to both drive and steer simultaneously, without the binding and vibration that plagued other designs. The front wheels were mounted with significant outward camber, bringing the tire contact patches as close as possible beneath the steering pivot point to reduce the effort required to turn them. This gave the Model B a distinctive pigeon-toed appearance that made it instantly recognizable in period photographs. Payload capacity was 11,000 pounds on road surfaces and 6,600 pounds cross-country. Unladen weight was 12,200 pounds. Maximum speed was 15 miles per hour. Braking was handled by an external contracting band operating on a flywheel at the back of the transmission rather than at the wheels, an arrangement that provided consistent stopping power regardless of road surface conditions. Production began in 1912 but was extremely slow initially. Only 18 vehicles were produced in 1913. The British Army became the first military customer in March 1915, and from that point, the trajectory changed entirely. A total of 2,925 Model Bs were eventually purchased by the British, with 1,599 of those deployed to France on the Western Front, predominantly for hauling artillery, ammunition, and pontoon bridge supplies across terrain that defeated every conventional two-wheel drive alternative. When the United States entered the war in 1917, the Army placed orders for 30,000 Model Bs designated the Truck 3 to 5-ton M1917. The four-wheel drive auto company could not build them fast enough. Peerless, Kissel, Premier, and Mitchell were all contracted to manufacture the same vehicle. To demonstrate that parts from all four manufacturers were genuinely interchangeable, one Model B was deliberately assembled in Indianapolis using components from every factory simultaneously. It worked. By the armistice in November 1918, 12,498 had been delivered against an order of 30,000, with 9,420 of those serving with the American Expeditionary Forces in France. Total production across all manufacturers exceeded 16,000 vehicles. The post-war assessment was unambiguous. In 1919, the United States Army ran a transcontinental motor convoy from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco to evaluate military vehicle performance across the full range of American road conditions. 3 Model Bs participated. The official Ordnance Department observer recorded that the FWD trucks were in general the most satisfactory in the entire convoy, and that of all vehicles represented, the Model Bs alone were able to pull through every bad, muddy, and sandy stretch in Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada completely unaided. They completed the entire transcontinental journey on their original tires. After the war, the military surplus Model Bs found enthusiastic civilian buyers. Their 4-wheel drive made them ideal for construction, road building, and municipal work during the post-war Good Roads movement. FWD survived the post-war recession almost entirely on Model B sales and spare parts. Sales demonstrations included driving the trucks up staircases to prove their traction capabilities to skeptical buyers. Among the more unique marketing decisions of the era, FWD selected 6 women from their factory workforce to demonstrate deliation, that the Model B's steering was light enough for anyone to operate. The first of these, Luella Bates, drove a Model B from Clintonville, Wisconsin to the 1919 New York Auto Show, and then completed 3 transcontinental demonstration trips across the United States. Some Model Bs remained in active service as construction vehicles and snowplows into the 1940s, nearly 27 decades after the first ones rolled out of Wisconsin. The FWD Model B did not look remarkable. Its cab was basic, its speed was walking pace by modern standards, and its 36-horsepower engine would embarrass a contemporary family car. But in 1915, on the Western Front, when ammunition had to reach artillery positions across ground that had been turned to liquid mud by months of shell fire, the question was never how fast the vehicle could go. The question was whether it could go at all. The FWD Model B always could. That singular capability, the ability to keep moving when everything else stopped, is what defined this vehicle in history. 4-wheel drive went on to become one of the most important technologies in military and civilian transport. The FWD Model B was where it was proven to work. If you value stories about technologies that changed everything and the vehicles that first demonstrated them, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the machines that built the modern world.